And welcome back to Learning New Testament Greek. And today's an exciting day because we're going to stop talking about Greek and start talking Greek. Today we have an example laid out before us. It's a simple sentence, but it'll serve our purpose. You can see it written out here. It's also in the book under Chapter 7 Practice. I forget what page is it, but you can find it. Alright, first of all, let's read the verse. It's the first step. I recommend you read it out loud until you get the hang of it, then read it out loud some more. It helps with the understanding and the vocabulary, things of that nature. So read your homework aloud as well. Alright. We have this word here. Remember, you have a smooth breathing mark. On, throw, pos. Anthropos. Anthropos. This word. Another smooth breathing mark. Eke. Eke. Tous. Karpous. Anthropos. Eke. Tous. Karpous. And a period at the end. Anthropos eke tous karpous. That's our sentence we're going to look at today. First thing we're going to do is we're going to parse it. Okay, when we parse a sentence, we take each word and we parse the words individually. Sometimes you'll hear the term locate, but parse is more standard. So first of all, we're going to take the word anthropos. Anthropos. Now, when parsing nouns, we need some information. First of all, we need to know what part of speech it is. It is a noun. And what is its gender? That's the next thing we need to know. Anthropos. The os ending is probably going to be a second declension masculine noun. If you don't know, you can always look it up. Look up anthropos. Recall the dictionary, the lexicon. Anthropos will read anthropos, comma, ha. Recall the ha tells you that it's masculine. So we just know anthropos is masculine, and there's no definite article with it, so you can't use that to tell in this case. So anthropos is masculine. And it's okay to abbreviate, just make sure your abbreviations are consistent and not confusing. Because there's a few words that you can use the same abbreviation for, and it get a little hairy later on, but don't worry about that right now. Just make sure your abbreviations are consistent and you understand them. Alright, masculine. Next up, we need number. What is the number of anthropos? Anthropos is singular. So we have its part of speech, its gender, its number. Now its case. What case is anthropos? Look back at the chart. And if you need to, pause the video and look back and tell me what case is anthropos. Alright, you back? And did you find out it was nominative? It is in the nominative case. Very good. Alright, what else do we need? We have the part of speech, we have the gender, the number, and the case. We need the lexical form. Remember what the lexical form is. The lexical form is how you look up a word in the lexicon. And it's for a noun, it's going to be its singular nominative form. And what we have a singular nominative form of this noun. So the lexical form of anthropos is anthropos. So that's its lexical form. We'll have a little more challenging next. Well, I guess eke is going to be a little more challenging than anthropos, because anthropos is the lexical form of anthropos. So that makes that easy. And then lastly, we're going to just give it a rough translation. What's a rough translation of anthropos? Man. In fact, that isn't a rough translation, that is the translation. Alright. We're going to move to the next word. We're going to parse it. Eke. Eke. Alright. Eke. What part of speech is eke? Eke is a verb. Alright, now that we know it's a verb, what's its gender? Well, it doesn't have gender, it's a verb. Verbs have a different set of criteria in their parsing information. First, you need the part of speech, now you need its tense. What type of tense is eke? Eke is in the present tense, which you could have deduced because that's the only tense you know. And its mood, what are... No, I'm sorry, no, I'm getting those out of order. It's voice, we need its voice. Now what's voice? Voice is how it relates to the subject. Recall, you can have an active, a middle, or a passive. And you only know actives, so it's a good guess that this is an active verb. And its mood's indicative, because that's the only one you know so far. And, well, more because it is indicative. Indicative mood, so it's a present active indicative verb. Now, what person is it? Yeah, well, trying to remember my list. So it's tense, or part of speech, tense, voice, mood, person. What person is eke? Remember, you have first, second, or third person. Uh, there's a good time to rattle off your endings for the present active indicative verb. O, ace, a, amen, et, usi. Remember that? Eke is a third person. See, o, ace, a. It's a third person singular. So, it is a third person. And the next thing I was going to ask you is its number, which is singular. Now, what's eke's lexical form? For a verb, its lexical form is its present active first person singular. Well, present active indicative first person singular is its lexical form. So what's the present active indicative first person singular of eke? It is echo. Recall o, ace, a, amen, et, usi. So o would be its lexical form. So if I was to look up eke in the lexicon, I would want to find it, but I would find echo. And that's something you need to know when you're looking up verbs, well, and nouns as well. Now a translation. Recall, what does echo mean? Echo means I have, except in the third person singular it is he has. Alright, next up, tous. Tous. What part of speech is tous? It is an article. It's a definite article, but you don't really have to point out definite articles, because in Greek there aren't any indefinite articles. It's just understood that it's indefinite. Like anthropos here doesn't have an article, so it says an understood indefinite article in English should we need it. Alright. Article, and you're going to parse, what is this? Definite article, you're going to parse that article just like you do a verb. So you have its part of speech, now you're going to want its gender. Tous, what's the gender of tous? Very good, masculine. It could also be neuter, but it's going to be masculine. Well, hold on to that thought. I'll show you why it's masculine here in a little bit. Masculine. And let's see, what's its number? Tous. Tous. Its number is plural. And now its case. What case is tous? What case is tous? Tous is the accusative. Recall your chart. If not, go look it up. That the definite article, masculine plural accusative, is tous. Alright? Very good. Okay. Now we're going to need its lexical form. Now, for definite articles, I will usually list the lexical form as ha, he, ta. That's because that is my mind just went blank. The masculine singular nominative, the feminine singular nominative, and the neuter singular nominative all put together. They're all three of the articles. So I'll usually just lump them together as the lexical form. You can say ha for this one because it's masculine, or if you wanted hey if it was a feminine, or two, but I just tend to lump them together, ha, hi, ta, and try to make your breathing marks distinct. Alright. Next up, after your lexical form, translation. How do you translate the definite article? The. Okay. One more word. And that word is carpus. What part of speech is carpus? Recall from your vocabulary. That's right, it's a noun. Okay. What is its gender? Its gender is masculine. And its number, gender number. Number is plural. Very good. And its case is accusative. What's its lexical form? Carpus? How would you look it up in the lexicon? Or find it in her vocabulary? You would find it as carpos. And how is carpos translated? It is fruits. Alright. Now here's where agreement comes in, because tus and carpus, tus is modifying carpus. Typically, if a word is immediately preceded by a definite article, typically that article is modifying that word. So they are going to agree in gender, number, and case. So if you're fuzzy on one but you know the other, you can generally assume that they're going to be the same. Like, if I wasn't real sure about the gender of tus, but I knew carpus was masculine, that would make tus masculine as well, because it's modifying that noun. Don't worry, we'll get to practice some of these. They'll become a little more fluid a little later on. Alright, so now you have all our words parsed. We know what they all are and how they all... Well, we don't really know how they fit. That's the next thing we need to do. We need to figure out how these things fit. So now that we've parsed, one of the easiest ways to go about this is, first of all, find the main verb. What is the main verb of this sentence? Well, let's just go through our parsing here. We have a noun, an article, a noun, and a verb. Well, there's only one verb, so there's a good possibility eke, which is our verb, is going to be our main verb. Alright, so I'm going to underline the verb twice. So when you watch me do grammar-y things, the double underline is going to signify verb. So we have the main verb. Now we need to find the subject. The subject. Alright, recall back to your study on cases. What case does the subject usually take? Not always, mind you, but usually, most of the time. The nominative case. Now, how many nominative nouns do we have? Nominative. That's an article. A noun. That's accusative. Well, sometimes an article can be used like a noun, but not in this case because it's clearly attached to a noun. Alright, so you have a accusative and a nominative. So good chance that anthropos is going to be the subject. But there's a way to test. Because, recall, the verb has to agree with its subject in gender. Well, it can't agree in gender. It has to agree in number and person. So if the eke here was an echo, you would be looking for I. If it was a case, you'd be looking for you. If it's looking for eke, you're looking for he or another noun. So each of these would fit, agreeing with the third person, but not in number. Anthropos is singular, Carpus is plural, so that immediately rules carpus out as being the subject of eke. Now there is that odd rule about the neuters we talked about last time, but all these are masculine nouns, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're going to say anthropos is the subject, and typically the nominative is. Not in every case, but in the vast majority, the nominative is going to be the subject. So anthropos eke. What you have here is what I call the kernel clause. Well, one of my professors used the term, and I liked it. But this is the base sentence. Anthropos eke. That is the basis of the kernel of the sentence, and everything else is going to tell you more about anthropos eke. Anthropos, so a man, because it's an arthrous, it doesn't have an article, it's going to be a man. Eke, a man has. Now I know we said he has, but because we have a subject present, you don't really need the he, so a man has. Well, what does a man has? Well, the man has something, and the rest of the sentence is going to tell us about that. Tous carpus. I already said that when you have a definite article immediately preceding a verb, usually it will be modifying a verb. Noun, it will usually be modifying that noun. And you can always verify that by checking its agreement. An article must agree with its noun in gender, number, and case. And we have masculine because it's tous and carpus. It's plural. It's accusative, and it's accusative. So they agree in gender, number, and case. So this tous is modifying this carpus. So it's making it definite. So tous modifies carpus. So now we know what tous is doing. What's carpus doing? Well, carpus, we saw, is an accusative. From your studies, well, last couple chapters, or the one on nouns particularly anyway, what does the accusative do? Much of the time, the accusative is going to be used like a direct object. Direct object's one receiving the action of the verb. It takes the action of the verb. So it's telling what anthropos ekes, what the man has. So we're going to take it and we're going to take all this information and we're going to do a translation. I'm going to choose a different color here. So translation, anthropos, and an arthrous noun, that is without the definite article, usually will, in English at least, we'll give it an indefinite. A man eke. What's eke again? Eke means has. Man has tous the carpus, fruits. Anthropos eke tous carpus. A man has the fruits. All right. And how was it? How'd you do? Okay. Very good. If you need to, go ahead and watch this one again. Next time we're going to try just a little more complicated sentence. It's not going to be bad, but it'll be exciting. And I will see you then.